Do you ever feel like pushing him in the water sometimes?
I felt like getting dangerously close to the edge.
Well, that's the election.
Kickstarting the campaign.
Jodie.
I'm here.
Meet Jodie Haydon.
Did I see my life panning out this way? Absolutely not.
Albo's very down-to-earth secret weapon.
It's not that exciting, Carl.
Sometimes it can be.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
In Canberra, the distance between the Prime Minister's home, the Lodge, and the Governor-General's residence at Yarralumla is about 4 kilometres. Traffic is always good in the nation's capital, so the trip should take less than 5 minutes. But so far, Anthony Albanese has resisted the temptation to visit GG Sam Mostyn to officially call this year's federal election. Of course, unofficially, the campaign has been pretty much in full swing for months. 2 weeks ago, opposition leader Peter Dutton and his family talked about the highs and lows of a life in politics. Tonight it's the turn of Albo and his soon-to-be bride and possible secret weapon, Jodie Haydon.
Hello. How are you? I'm good.
Hi, how you doing? Oh, okay, very important. Is your face always that colour, or did you get it painted?
I get it painted.
Oh, okay, that's good.
When it's salmon instead of snags at the Brekkie barbecue, there's only one place you could be, Tasmania. And these fish fanatics have 2 very important mouths to feed.
I've noticed you always pick places where they've got great food.
Well,
Hey?
great salmon, great Australian product. The temperature just went boom.
Yeah.
And I was...
On the road in Devonport last weekend, things were moving fast.
We want to farm sustainably, and that's what the industry wants as well.
And if you look at the polls, it's easy to see why. The Labor Party is falling further and further behind the coalition and in desperate need of a head start. I feel like someone's hit you with the pack-a-whackers and they've frightened you and shocked you back into life. Is there an element of truth to that?
No, I'm enthusiastic. I've worked hard each and every day to honour the privilege that I have of serving the Australian people. I won't leave anything on the field and I won't die wondering. I'll have a real crack. But importantly as well, we've got an agenda for a second term that's positive.
We want to protect the jobs.
That second term could live or die based on what happens here in Tasmania. Keeping the fish theme going, it's where you'll find Bass, one of the country's most marginal seats, which the coalition currently holds by 1%. So the PM is doing whatever he can to try to gain an edge, including bringing along his normally shy fiancée, Jodie Haydon.
Where's Jodie?
I'm here.
I don't care about policy for this interview. I only care about one thing, and that's Jodie.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks, Carl.
How is it for you to get out on the campaign?
I enjoy it. I mean, this job is extremely consuming, but Anthony's the hardest working person that I know. And so when we are together, we make the most of it.
The couple got together in 2020, about 18 months after Albo's first marriage to former Deputy Premier of New South Wales, Carmel Tebbit, ended. Jodie was in the crowd where he was speaking, and neither of them expected sparks to fly.
I think you've been through a lot, PM, personally, and to find happiness, did you think you would like this?
No. And I wasn't looking for a relationship. Jodie yelled out up the Rabbitohs is how we met when I went round the table.
That's how easy you were.
Yeah, you had me at up the Rabbitohs.
We should get that on a shirt.
Yeah.
After the pair ran into each other again, a week later, Jodie decided to make a bold and very modern move. She sent Albo, who was then the opposition leader and her local member, a private message on social media.
I was a single woman for a long time before I met Anthony.
When you say you met him, don't you mean you stalked him?
That's a bit harsh, Carl. Come on. I mean, to all the single independent ladies out there, why can't we make the first move?
Yeah, the message that Jodie sent me was that we had a lot in common. South Sydney, support for the Labor Party, and I sent a message back saying, yep, but what's your position on craft beer? And so we met up at Young Henry's in Newtown for a beer on a Friday afternoon, and we just
The rest
got on
is
it.
history.
It just clicked.
It did.
Since then, it's been a wild ride around the world and back again for 46-year-old Jodie. She still works full-time in the banking industry, but she's also been at the PM's side watching history unfold at the Queen's funeral, King's coronation, and important meetings with foreign leaders.
A kid from the central coast of New
Central
South
Coast.
Wales, mixing it up in the White House.
Oh.
I mean, it's a fairy tale story.
It is in many ways. I think, you know, if I was did I see my life panning out this way? Absolutely not. I think many of my other single girlfriends and I thought we would end up like the Golden Girls one day. We'll all live together up the coast, and that would be life. So on these trips that we do, I actually take them quite seriously because you know that you're also representing Australia in those moments.
The relationship isn't about the job that I happen to have or the job that Jodie happens to have. You know, we have moments where it's just Anthony and Jodie.
That's right.
What happens there?
That's really important.
It's not that exciting, Carl. Like, to be honest, it might be.
Sometimes it can be. Don't talk it down completely.
No,
He's not that old.
no, he's not that old.
The PM turns 62 today
These people are totally
and sincerely hopes he's still a long way off retirement. But a decision he made last September about where he and Jodie will spend their twilight years caused extreme controversy. While plenty of Australians were under enormous financial stress, Albo splurged, buying a $4.3 million beach house on the central coast of New South Wales. Whose harebrained idea was Copacabana?
Look, Jodie and I are getting married. What you don't do is move into the family home where Carmel and I raised Nathan together as a family. And guess what, Carl? At some stage, then I won't be Prime Minister into my 80s, and therefore we have bought a place close to where Jodie grew up, where her family are all based.
I've spent some time with her these last couple of days, and I get the feeling the girl from the Central Coast would rather, sooner rather than later, have her feet up at Copacabana. Whether you're there or not.
No, well, she's a coastie and a proud one.
Yeah.
And it was very much a personal decision, not a political one. And I think Australians get that.
Did it sting you at all, the criticism around that? The perception being during a cost of living crisis, the PM shouldn't be seen as being, you know, so lavish.
I'm pretty resilient, Carl. And if you're worried about every bit of criticism that was out there, then life would be much more difficult than it is.
At the end of the day, I know Anthony, and he's strong. He genuinely cares about people, and his values are very much centred around fairness. So I tune out to a lot of the negativity.
But the beach house aside, cost of living remains a huge problem for voters. Coming up, will this issue cost the Prime Minister his job?
What we've managed to do here is to aim for that soft landing of bringing inflation down without throwing people on the unemployment scrap.
I know, but a soft landing, PM, with respect, is not a bag of groceries at Coles or Woolies or Aldi costing $100. People are angry, and some of that anger is being directed towards you because it's been on your watch. It's Saturday afternoon in Hobart, and the Prime Minister has whisked his fiancée, Jodie Haydon, off to a whiskey distillery. It sounds romantic, but the problem is they're not alone. He's on the job, promising tax breaks to small businesses like this one. Jodie has had to go out and buy a whole lot more red for this campaign. Was it a big decision to have her along with you and for her?
Oh, she will make appearances during the campaign at major events, but she works full-time. She's an independent, strong woman, and that's something that I respect.
Love or hate Anthony Albanese, there's no denying he loves his job.
I do wake up every day and just feel incredibly privileged to be in this job.
Does the day-to-day stuff ever get irritating for you, the petty stuff?
Sometimes I don't think you can let it get inside your head. You've just got to console yourself, if you like, with the fact that it is fish and chip wrapper tomorrow and things move on pretty quickly.
But one serious issue has been impossible for the PM to move past: cost of living. It seems everything, from mortgage repayments and rent to electricity and groceries, is more expensive now than when he took office. There was finally some relief last month when the Reserve Bank dropped interest rates for the first time in 4 years, but we're still paying much more than when Albo was sworn in. What if the Australian public just go, we've had enough? Cost of living, cost of living, cost of living, and it could cost you your job.
Well, cost of living measures, of course, have been put in place by us. All of them have been opposed by Peter Dutton. And what we've managed to do here is to aim for that soft landing of bringing inflation down without throwing people on the unemployment scrap heap.
I know, but a soft landing, PM, with respect, is not a bag of groceries at Coles or Woolies or Aldi costing $100. People are angry, and some of that anger is being directed towards you because it's been on your watch.
Well, global inflation, of course, rose under the previous government's watch, and the previous government at that time was pouring petrol on the fire by having a $78 billion deficit. Now, we turned that $78 billion Liberal deficit into a $22 billion Labor surplus.
You do have to stop spending at some time, though.
We have produced 2 budget surpluses. You remember that the previous government produced 0. We have had a major repair job to do, but we've always been focused as well on the future, and that's what this election campaign will be about.
Anthony Albanese.
The Prime Minister is unsurprisingly throwing everything at delivering good news to voters, including his pledge to make 90% of GP visits free.
One card covers it all. Not your credit card, this, your Medicare card.
Peter Dutton has a record that's negative. He did rip tens of billions of dollars out of the health system.
It looks and feels like Mediscare 2.0 and get Peter Dutton.
It's not a negative campaign, it's a positive one.
So you won't get personal in this campaign?
What I'll do is go through the policies. I want to bring Australians together. I want to lift people up, not punch down on people.
Say yes! Yes! Everybody say yes!
But for all the PM's optimism, there's no escaping the disappointments of the last 3 years. None bigger than the failed referendum on The Voice.
Indigenous people asked that it be put to the Australian people. We did that. That was out of conviction, not out of convenience. We respect the outcome.
You don't think it caused you any damage, a sitting Prime Minister campaigning so heavily for something and being so out of step with what the majority of Australians thought?
Well, like most Prime Ministers who've ever had a referendum, Bob Hawke, of course, had referendums that weren't successful.
Did it sadden you?
Of course, I was disappointed with the outcome, but we had a crack. Well, today we're...
Some of the biggest challenges facing the PM, if he wins another term, won't be at home, but overseas, especially in the US. How are you going to deal with Donald Trump?
Well, I'll deal with him the way I deal with other world leaders, respectfully.
The guy's a proper renegade, though, at times.
Well, Donald Trump has a different perspective from mine. That's very clear. But we have so much in common. The trade relationship is very important. The AUKUS security arrangements are so important.
Should you have gone to see him in person before now?
Oh, he has only been in office for a bit over a month now. My priority right now has been, of course, being here in Australia, and the President and I will continue to engage together.
How worried are you about the Chinese Navy fishing off our coast?
We engage in exercises in the South China Sea. The Chinese presence there is consistent with international law.
They're agitated, though.
But I've said with the relationship with China that we'll cooperate where we can, we'll disagree where we must, but we'll engage in our national interests. Bearing in mind, in the previous term, there wasn't a single phone conversation, let alone a meeting.
It was radio silence.
With our major trading partner. So we have restored in excess of $20 billion of exports going to China. What that means is jobs here in Australia and economic growth here in Australia.
This is fun, this campaigning business.
It's good, isn't it? Stick with me, Carl.
Cheers.
What could go wrong?
While the PM is trying hard to keep his cool on foreign affairs, he's the first to admit, at home, he does have a breaking point.
That's going to put hairs on your chest. He's got to have some annoying habits, doesn't he? No, come on, give me something, Jodie.
Yeah, I want this engagement to last, Carl. I'm not sure I want to, talk about all of Anthony's annoying habits. No, look, he's very...
I completely are.
You are. I know you're going to know what you're going to say.
I'll out myself here.
Yeah.
I completely have to be organised, things done in a certain way.
Little OCD?
So I will completely...
100%.
The bathroom, I'll be like...
Yes.
Jodie,
we share a sink.
Can we clean up that half?
Things start to migrate over. I know when I've gone too far.
What? You're the only Aussie male in this country who has a clean bathroom.
But it's not clean.
Oh.
But it's not my fault.
Never drop a towel.
Is what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
It's a tough road into an election, and I think it's a tough life, and I think it's tough on partners and families. Would you agree?
It is, but it is an important time to engage with people and to connect with them as well. And I'm confident that we have a good program going forward. We need to convince the Australian people.
He is 24/7, doesn't stop.
But the election isn't the only big day coming up for Albo. He and Jodie are planning to tie the knot later this year.
Do you ever feel like pushing him in the water sometimes?
I felt like then it was just getting dangerously close to the edge.
Heading down.
Well, that's the election. We're all on the edge. What happens if you lose the election?
I'm determined to win.
I know.
But down the track, it is absolutely delightful to meet someone who you want to spend the rest of your life with. We're best friends, as well as in a relationship, and that's just tremendous.
Do you want me to MC your wedding?
Ooh,
I
how
don't know
much
how
do you
you'd
charge?
Mates rates.
Mates rates. Oh.
I'm prepared to look at it.
Maybe you can DJ.
What about your wedding song? Come on.
Oh, we haven't decided that. I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan, so that could make an appearance.
Born in the USA?
No, not quite.
Probably not.
Wrong vibe, I think. The only thing that we've decided is the ring bearer, of course, which is Toto.
Toto.
Yeah. Here we go.
Let's go.
Here we go.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.